This is where a coach is really, really helpful in letting you see the things that you maybe just are not seeing, number one, or possibly ignoring. Welcome back, fam. Welcome back to the channel. I am so happy to have you folks here on this beautiful Sunday morning. My name is Shan Otare, and I am a self-mastery coach. If you've been watching with me, I've been calling myself a breakthrough coach, but I'm upgrading myself to self-mastery because really it is about self-mastery. It is a less broad than just mindset. Mindset is part of that, but mastering yourself, especially you ladies, particularly you mamas out there, it is really important to have a mastery of yourself, because when you show up to anything in life, whether it's your family, your relationships, your money, your business, your children, and everything outside of that, how well you have yourself mastered is what's going to get you to the places that you want to get to. And that's why today's topic is going to be just for you. Let's jump in. All right, so today what I'm talking about is how having a coach is the new flex. All right, this is not a good flex bicep here, but you know what I mean, right? So it is not new to me. It is becoming more apparent to many people. But I'm here to break it down a little for you today, why having a coach in different parts of your life is a really, really important thing for you to consider. All right, I have a TED Talk below by a guy named Atul Gawande. He's a surgeon, and I watched his TED Talk a while ago, and it really struck me. And it was right before I was getting into the coaching space, and I was like, yes, that's so true. That's so true. I definitely understand the need of it. And when I stopped and thought about it, I realized how much I had actually throughout the years had different coaches, different mentors in my life that helped me get to where I am, to create this life that is essentially my creation. It's not something that's happening to me. It's something that at some point I thought of, and at some point I took some action on, and at some point I started getting results from. And that is what I believe the beautiful thing, and why it's a new flex to have a coach in your life, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your money, whether it's for your relationship, whether it's for your self-mastery, wink, get into this place where you have the guidance is a really important thing. So I'm going to explain that to you, and I'll also link below his YouTube. You can watch either the small clip. I'll have both a short clip, it's like a couple of minutes long, and then the full TED Talk, which I believe is like 18 or 19 minutes long, to give you a scope of what the idea is and why it truly is important. So first of all, I grew up in a time when college was being pushed really hard, right? When you graduate, you go to college. And when you go to college, you get a degree in whatever your interest is. And when you get that degree, you get a job, and then you go to that job and you stay there for as long as possible. Hopefully it's a good enough job that keeps you happy, that keeps you, with enough money, and that helps you to fulfill the other things that you have in your life. At least that's the dream that was handed down to me. Now, that's not bad, and most professionals, especially career-wise, would think that is a good path, especially for like lawyers, doctors, engineers, maybe even some scientists. There are some things that I don't believe college is required for, but that's a whole other YouTube video that I debate on whether I want to talk. I'm not trying to spark an argument. I'm just trying to share my opinion. All right. So, really what a professional is, especially after you go to college and you get the degrees, it's someone who is capable of their own improvement, right? Realizing what their own improvement is and taking the steps to improve themselves, right? Whether that's through practice, and it is usually through practice. And you'll hear the surgeon in the YouTube that I shared below talk about how he's a surgeon and how he started off and at baseline, and then as he did more surgeries, his complication rates started going down, and so that just talks about him mastering his craft. And this is true in music. This is true in anything that you do, including parenting. Now, I don't want you to take this video as, okay, this is all about career. No, this is about even just yourself. Right? Who you are with yourself. What do you have mastered in yourself? And is this something that you can do alone? Right? And this is where seeing the difference or the contrast between the professional's approach versus the coach's approach is how they're very different. With the professional approach, like I said earlier, it really is dependent on you, the one person, to continue to grow yourself in whatever way you see fit, right? And it really is just one person, right? And for most teachers who are, like professors or teaching somebody a class or in a college setting, their hope is that all of the ideas that they are teaching or inculcating into their students eventually will become part of that student's thinking and become that part of that student's habit forming. And by having these things, it's going to allow them to make their way in the world. All right, on their own, on their own accord. And that is very like the professional, this is how you learn, you stay capable and you push through yourself and you just go back to all your teachings, right? But just imagine, all right, you're a doctor, you've been practicing for 30 years. How likely is it that you're going to go back to what your professor was teaching you back, 30 years ago? And especially in something like the medical field, things are always advancing. So what your professor might have taught you 30 years ago may not actually be relevant today or even practiced anymore. And of course, again, I'm just using the medical field as an example, but this is just kind of across the board what happens when you keep yourself in this one lane. Now, let's contrast the other side of that, which is the coaching aspect. And for a lot of coaching, you hear coaching taking place in sports. And the one big thing in coaching is that they say that you're never done. You are never done with coaching. You see, if you don't see, Google it when we're done here, right? Look, type up like famous, athletes that you know, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. I don't know, am I showing my age with how old I am? Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, I don't know, what is the other guy from the Golden State Warriors? Light skin, has a wife that cooks. Steph Curry, okay? See, I knew I would get it, right? These younger generations, all of them, although they are professional athletes in their own stage. Naomi Osaka, I had to get some women in there. Serena Williams, right? Thank you for remembering that. Bringing all of these professional athletes, yes, they're professional. Yes, they're at the highest level of whatever sport they're playing at. But on the side, every single day in their normal everyday practice, they have a coach. Normally one-on-one coach who's looking at them. Now, here's what the coach's purpose is. So basically, like he says in the video, the coach's job is that they are the external eyes and ears who are looking at you, and what they're doing is they're helping you to create a more accurate portrayal of what your reality is. Because come on, I mean, how many of us like say one thing, but we know deep down inside, like that's not the truth. We play these games, we play these scenarios and these scenes in our head, and we skew actual reality in our head until someone shows up in front of us and says, I see you, and here's what's really going on. Let me tell you, right? Here is why most people don't invite that in. It kind of stings a little hearing someone telling you that what you're doing is either wrong or not the best, especially if you feel like you're at the top of the game. But this is why these athletes continue to get better. They are openly being vulnerable in one state. They are making themselves open to criticism. They're making themselves open to something that they're not aware of in order to be able to have awareness of these things to make themselves better. Right? And it's such a great example that he gives in the video where he talks about the doctor who came in and watched him. He says, did you notice that sometime your elbow goes up? And he's like, when you do that, like you're off center. And so that changes the way you cut. It changes how everything is. And a coach will see this for you. Right? So this is where a coach is really, really helpful in letting you see the things that you maybe just are not seeing, number one, or possibly ignoring, which is its own separate problem. If you're ignoring things that you actually see, that's its own separate problem. Again, another YouTube video for that one. So the reason why you are seeing more coaches sprout up is because I think people are starting to realize the importance of them in every aspect of your life. It's what I do. For my career, I coach people on how to do that. I've been able to now coach, individuals, one-on-one, people in a group, and then people like through my course, my Audacity Academy, I'm able to coach people through my coursework and help them through arriving at the different things that they're going to need to understand about themselves to really get to that self-mastery part and to be able to go out into the world and accomplish the things that they want to. Because here's the things, many people want to have success in their relationships or marriages. They want to have success financially. If they're a business owner, they want to have a success business-wise, right? And someone can come in and teach you, here's the strategies on how to run a business. Here's some strategies on how to do your banking. Here's some strategies on what you can do to make your relationship better. But in the end, they're all just strategies, which can go and will go completely out the window if you have not mastered this. If you haven't gone through and healed the wounds that you might not even think of as wounds, but these past hurts that really come into your life in different ways, those tactics or strategies will never really fully play out. And for example, I used to coach in money. I used to teach people one-on-one in personal finances. I teach them the strategies, right? I taught them a formulated strategy. They would learn it. They would get excited. They'd pay off some debt. They'd save some money. It would be an awesome thing. And sometimes within 6 months, sometimes to a year, I stopped hearing from them. Maybe 3 years, I stopped hearing from them. It's weird. I see them in the grocery store and boom, they're going a different direction. They're not wanting to look at me. And I'm like, whoa, like we ended well. Like what's going on, right? And when I finally get to meet with them, what happens is like, oh, well, this happened in my life. And, like my relationship was struggling and, something happened with my kids. Some medical things came up. And I'm like, oh, you definitely should have called me then. But what happened, and this is what I was saying earlier, is all the strategies that I taught them went completely out of the window when all life came at them. And that's why understanding who you are, right? Being authentically who you are, knowing for yourself where you stand on things and being super grounded in it. When the world comes to shift you with a death, when the world comes to shift you with medical issues, relationship issues, issues with your children, when the world comes and shakes you with these kind of world shaking events type of things, if you're grounded, you will feel the shake, but it will not move you. It will not move you. And this for me has been what coaching has been for me. And I've had coaches in very different areas. I've had coaches, of course, like I said, back in money. I've had coaches in therapy and psychological therapy for me to understand what is just going on in my psyche that's making me feel this way. What's coming from my childhood that's affecting me today in my 40s, right? In my late 30s, early 40s. Why is this stuff still coming up? That was like decades ago. I got a coach to help me to understand that. When I started getting into the coaching arena, on my own solo, I didn't know much. I knew about social media. I've had it for many years, but how do I use that to market? I hired a social media coach. I hired another coach that taught me how to run my business on there. I hired another coach that taught me how to look for the employees. Like I hired people who were better than me to teach me the things that I wanted to know so I could be better myself. And now I'm at this place where for a lot of them, I've outgrown them. And that's okay because now I'm at the next level where I'm going to need another coach, right? And it's the same thing for you. Many people have asked me, Shan, how do you continue to just, have success? And that's kind of a touchy term for me because success is so different to many people, but have success in your life, seem to have peace in your life, which is my goal to have. How do you continue to have this with all these things going on around you? Well, it was a choice. It really came down to, healing myself, unlocking what my true purpose was, and then shaping my life around that. It really came down to aligning those things. And so everything coming along, money issues, relationship issues, when they came, I got shook a little, but I wasn't shooketh. I wasn't shooketh to where I was completely knocked off my rocker. I was able to say, okay, here's a little bit of a storm. Put up the umbrella, rain jacket, right? Let's make a plan to weather this storm. And this is why a coach is so important to helping you in different areas. So my recommendation is don't be closed off to it. Is it going to cost you money? Heck yes. And you know what? It should, because someone is putting their time into helping you, right? And yes, you are going to have to do the work. I did all the work through the coaches who had mentored me and taught me. I had to go and do the actual work, but they took their time to teach me, to get to know me, to understand me. Or I took my time to watch all the videos in their course to really understand it, ask questions to myself and work through it again. It costed me money and it costed me time. But the investment that I put into myself to upgrade my business, to upgrade myself, to shape the life that I wanted, is freaking, it's priceless, guys. You can't replace that. It is probably going to be more expensive than some of the things that you're buying out there. So now you have a choice. Do you want long-term happiness, peace, or do you want short-term gratification? This feels good. This thing feels good. This purchase feels good. Because it will. Purchases will always feel good, right? But it's really temporary until you receive the bill, or until you're like, man, this is not fulfilling me anymore, right? You're really going to have to dig deeper. It is a bit of work, but I'll talk about that on another video. But I will tell you, the reason having a coach is the new flex is because people are starting to get woke. They're starting to realize that keeping things secret, that keeping things down and suppressing things is, number one, just not healthy, right? That's just number one on top of it. But number two, there is an inherent freedom that comes from uncovering these things and sitting with yourself and knowing these things, that just creates a stronger bond in all the relationships you have, right? You apologize quicker. You take acceptance for a lot of your own role in things, rather than just blaming people for everything, which is it's its own problem. The last thing is that all of us are broken in some ways, right? Some of us more than others. And really what a coach does in the end of it is, a lot of times they will break you down. They'll pull everything apart so they can help you build it back stronger. That is their goal. Their goal is all about you. My goal is all about you. So why don't you make this life about you? All right. I invite you to do that. So I thank you folks for chiming in today. I encourage you to think of areas in your life that you are looking for help in, and reach out to someone who you trust, whether or not they're even a coach. Sometimes it's just a matter of asking someone to mentor you. Like, hey, you live a life that looks interesting to me, that I feel like I want to do, or you have done things, or I see you actively helping other people do this thing. Can you help me? Right? And reach out. Don't be scared. There's been so many times when people I have coached me that they weren't advertising to be a coach. I was like, hey, can you help me? Like, I just informally just went there. There's a lot to be said with that. Now, if somebody is a coach and you are reaching out to them, definitely thank them for their time and use their time wisely. Definitely take advantage of it. Don't take like illicit advantage of people in that way, right? There's boundaries. And if they're a professional coach, c'est moi, then you will see that they will have the boundaries, because that's what they've learned. They respect themselves enough to know how to show you how to do that, to show you how to exemplify that for your life. So I appreciate you guys coming in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, why not? Get in there, do it. Make sure that you hit the notification so that every Sunday when the video comes out, you are notified of it. And get on my newsletter. Get on my newsletter so you can see all the different things that are coming out, especially this coming week where my Audacity Academy is going live. Before it rolls out, I am doing 2 master classes on October 21st. That's Thursday, October 21st. I have 2 times. So go to my Instagram page, or even down below, I have my link in there. You can either get on the wait list or register for the master class, where I'm going to talk more about what I specifically do in my coaching course, so that you can decide if this is something that you're ready to do. Because I'll tell you guys, stop waiting. 2022, we've gone through almost 2 years of a pandemic already. Aren't we ready for a change for better? I'm sure you are. Check the link below so you can get more information on the Academy, and come see me this Thursday in the masterclass. Share it with your friends, anybody who might want to do it with you. That's another thing. Have some friends come along and do it with you, because it definitely is great to see everyone rise together. So until I see you folks again, you guys take care and keep evolving. Bye.